I'm Shennee Holloway. I'm a long-term resident of Duluth. I've been in Duluth for 20 years. Well, next year, 2024, will be 20 years. I'm running for city council because I love people. I love the city. I think it's thriving. I've been there now for 20 years. I've raised my daughter there. I'm an educator, so I've been in the school system also for the same amount of time. I taught at Hull Middle School and Duluth High School. I taught language arts. So now I work for Gwinnett County Public Schools in the district office and the family engagement. So I think the city of Duluth needs to reflect its diversity for sure. So I'm definitely running so that I can add my perspective to the city council. Not a relationship yet, but I'd love to. I was just endorsed by the American Asian Advocacy Fund, and I was excited about that because I'm an educator. I have students that I've taught in the community. So because Gwinnett County is heavy Asian, especially Duluth, our second highest population is an Asian population. I'd love to get closer and learn more so that I can be an advocate even for our Asian Americans. So the first thing I do is add a new perspective. So our city council is made up of 5 council members and the mayor. Right now, all the council members are all male and 1 female, and they're all non-people of color, except one, our female is Puerto Rican. And so the decisions that are being made for our city are just, I don't think they meet the perspectives of everyone. And I'd like to, that's the first thing I want to do is add a new perspective for sure. I'm already serving on the planning commission for the city, and I'm also the only person of color on the planning commission. And a lot of the other things that I do with the city, I volunteer with the Fall Festival and all those things. So I never really see any other people of color hardly. So I'd like to add that perspective. I'm a mom, like I said, an educator, and I've worked in this county and the city for a long time. And I just don't see it, even with as simple as translating documents. I think a couple years ago they've added the Google Translate on the website, but none of the materials are printed in other languages. Nothing's available other than maybe Spanish, but that's it. And so when you ask for community members to be involved and to make decisions, you can't even put things out in other languages that no one even knows. Even with voting right now, I don't know if you guys know this, but with our city elections, they're posted on City Hall's door. They're posted on the website, but no one really knows that an election is going on. And when I go knock on doors, they're like, oh, there's an election. So to me, there's some sort of voter suppression happening, and just the people who are always in the know knows about that, but not everybody. So that's another thing I want to make sure. I want to look out for our young people too. Our young people don't have a space to go to in the city. So that's another piece for me. Like I really want to see more equity with the city. They have I don't know if it would be considered a formula, but every odd year or something like that. So this post number 4, 5 in the mayor is 2023. And then post number 1, 2, 3 will come up in 2024 to seat in 2025. So they're every other year with the seat numbers. But the seat numbers don't represent, and that's another thing, they don't represent any specific part of the city. They're just at large seat numbers. So I'd like to even be able to, because usually when you have a representative of some sort, you take your knowledge and you share it with your community or your area, but that doesn't happen in Duluth. So I'd like to have more like town hall or something just to share information, because transparency in our budget, transparency in our planning, no one knows unless you're part of the people who already know. And so that's a concern for me. Even as an educator, people are out of the loop all the time and people just keep their information within their information and nobody finds out about it. And then so I really got to figure out a way to make sure everybody knows what's happening and able to give input, because only the people who always give input give input. So as an educator, I'm just concerned about kids, period, right? So there are 2 schools. So Duluth has 7 schools. The 2 schools that are closest to downtown are Coleman Middle School and Duluth High School. And currently, our students who let's say school gets out, the high school gets out at like 2 o'clock and the middle school gets out at 4. But currently our students who don't have a ride home right away, they go over to downtown Duluth and they hang out. And the people are trying to run them away from hanging out or being in downtown. But if it's a city for everybody, that's a concern for me, that you're running away the young people, because they're the future. You know, they're the ones who, even with our 2040 plan, they're the ones who are going to be the reciprocals of what's happening in that 2040 plan. So I would love to see some sort of a recreational space for our younger people, especially with 2 schools that close to downtown. There's restaurants there for everybody, but not the young people. There's a playground for little kids, but not the middle school or high school kids. There's yoga studios and everything else, but nothing for our adolescent kids. And those are the ones who I think are more impressionable, who need us the most. So if anything, I'd love to see maybe partner with the Boys and Girls Club or something to get something in Duluth for our kids. Population has grown so much. You guys have probably seen the growth in Duluth, period, right? From 2020, we grew from 11,000 to 35,000 today. We're like 35,000 people. And that's a lot of young people, even in that. So I just love to see some space for our young people, for sure. Yes, first time running. I've served in other capacities, like currently I'm on the Planning Commission. But when you're at those tables and you're at in those meetings, you can give input, but you can't make a decision. And so I wanted to run for city council so that I can help make decisions. So for me, it's kind of what we mentioned earlier. It's just some equity right now in communication and information. So everything currently it's out there. Like, you have information on the website, but no one goes to the website. So my first agenda would be to talk to the city council about how do we make this information accessible to everybody. Whether it's texting, like no one goes to the website like that. So why don't we have like a text system to give information out? You know, the school system uses a text system to get things to people. Why don't we have town hall meetings to tell our communities? Why don't we go to HOA meetings? Why don't we go to the apartment community? So that's the first thing I want to do, is make sure the information is accessible to everybody, not just the people who always get the information.